Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 77, we are starting today. Lord Krishna slays the demon Shalva. Text number 1 onwards. Sheshakuvacha Saupasprishya Salilam Danshito Dhrittakarmukaha Nayamam Dhrimatah Parsham Viryasyetyaha Sarathim. Shukdev Goswami said, after refreshing himself with water, putting on his armor and picking up his bow, Lord Pradyumna told his driver, take me back to where the hero Dyuman is standing. So, as we studied previously, that there was fight between Pradyumna and Dyuman. Dyuman was the commander-in-chief of Shalva. And Pradyumna was injured and his charioteer took him away out of the battlefield. Pradyumna was very sorry that why did he take me away out? But charioteer told him that this was his duty to protect his king. So now he is coming back. Pradyumna is coming back to fight again. So Pradyumna was eager to rectify the discrepancy of his having left the battlefield when his chariot driver carried him away unconscious. Vidhamantam swasanyani Dyumantam Rukmini sutaha pratihatya pratyavidhyan nara charashta bhismayam. In Pradyumna's absence, Dyuman had been devastating his army, but now Pradyumna counterattacked him and smiling pierced him with 8 Narach arrows. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Pradyumna challenged Dyuman, saying, now see if you can strike me. After saying this and allowing Dyuman to shoot his weapons, Pradyumna released his own deadly arrows. Chaturbhishturo vahan sutam ekena chanat vabhyam dhanushva ketum cha sharenenyanen vaishira. With 4 of these arrows, he struck Dyuman's 4 horses. With 1 arrow, his driver, with 2 more arrows, his bow and chariot flag, and with this last arrow, Dyuman's head. So he hit his head. Gad satya ki sambadya jagno sobhapater balam petu samudre sobheya sarve sanchin kandhata. Gada, Satyaki, Samba and others began killing Shalva's army, and thus all the soldiers inside the airship began falling into the ocean, their necks severed. Evam yadunan Shalvanam nignatam tamittaretaram yuddham trinav ratram tad abhutam ulmul manam. As the Yadus and Shalva's followers thus went on attacking one another, the tumultuous, fearsome battle continued for 27 days and nights. Wow, big battle. Indraprastham gataha Krishna ahuto dharma sununa rajasuye at nivritte shishupale cha sansite kuru vriddhan anugyapya munesha sasutam vritam nimittani ati ghorani pashyan dwaravatim yayo. Invited by Yudhishthir, the son of Dharma, Lord Krishna had gone to Indraprastha. Now that the Rajasuya sacrifice had been completed and Shishupal killed, the Lord began to see inauspicious omens. So he took leave of the Kuru elders and the great sages, and also of Pritha and her sons, and returned to Dwarka. At chaham ihayata aryam mishras abhisangita Rajanyashadya Pakshiya Nonam Hanyo Purim Mama. The Lord said to himself, because I have come here with my respected elder brother, king partial to Shishupal may well be attacking my capital city. Vikshya tad kadanam swanam nirupya pura rakshanam saubham cha shalva rajam cha darukam praha keshava. Shukdev Goswami continued. After he arrived at Dwarka and saw how his people were threatened with destruction, and also saw Shalva and his Sobha airship, Lord Keshav arranged for the city's defense and then addressed Dwarka as follows. Lord Krishna placed Sri Balram in a strategic position to guard the city, and he also appointed a special guard for Sri Rukmini and other queens inside the palaces. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, by a secret route, special soldiers conveyed the queens to safety inside Dwarka, because the queens came with Krishna. So Krishna, he didn't even go inside Dwarka, he just went to the battlefield. Ratham prapaye mesuta shalvasyanti kamashugaya sambramaste na kartavyo mayavi sobharadayam. Lord Krishna said to driver, quickly take my chariot near Shalva. This Lord of Sobha is a powerful magician. Don't let him bewilder you. Iti uktaschodhyamasa ratham astaya darukam vishantam dadrushu sarve svepare charunanujam. Thus ordered Daruka took command of the Lord's chariot and drove forth. As a chariot entered the battlefield, everyone there, both friend and foe, caught sight of the emblem of Garuda, means Krishna has arrived. Shalvascha Krishna Malakya Hatapraya Baleshwara Praharit Krishna Sutaya Shaktim Bhima Ravam Mridhe. When Shalva, the master of a decimated army, saw Lord Krishna approaching, he hurled a spear at the Lord's charioteer. The spear roared frighteningly as it flew across the battlefield. Tama patantim nabasi mahol kame ramhasa hasyantim disha shori sayakya shatachinat. Shalva's hurling spear lit up the whole sky like a mighty meteor. But Lord Shori tore the great weapon into hundreds of pieces with his arrows. Tam cha shodash bhir vidhatva bane sobham cha ke brahmat avidya charad sandohe kham surya iv rashmi bhi. Lord Krishna then pierced Shalva with 16 arrows and struck the Sobha airship with the deluge of arrows as it darted about the sky. Firing his arrows, the Lord appeared like the sun flooding the heavens with its rays. Shalva shorestu dosavyam shanga sharang dhanvanaha vivedanya patadhastacha charanga masidad adbhutam. Shalva then managed to strike Lord Krishna's left arm, which held his bow Sharang. And amazingly, Sharang fell from his hand. Krishna is just playing with Shalva. Hahakaro mahanasi bhutanam tatra pashyatam ninadya sobhara duchar idam aha janardanam. Those who witnessed this all cried out in dismay. Then the master of Sobha roared loudly and addressed Lord Janardhan. Yatvaya mudana sakyur bhratur bharya dharpekshatam pramatta sa sabha madhe tvaya vyapadita sakha tam tvadya nishitairvane aparajitam maninam niyamya punaravritim yadi tishteram magrataha. Shalva said, "You fool, because in your presence you kidnapped the bride of our dear friend Shishupal, your own cousin, and because we later murdered him in the sacred assembly while he was inattentive. Today, with my sharp arrows, I'll send you to the land of no return. Though you think yourself invincible, I'll kill you now if you dare stand before me." Shri Bhagwan Vacha Vritatvam Kathase Manda na pashyasti antake antakam porusam darshayanti sma shura na bahubhashina. The Supreme Lord said, "O dullard, you boast in vain since you fail to see death standing near you. Real heroes do not talk much, but rather show their prowess in action." Somehow this always happens between hero and villain is always going to boast of his powers, and same theme even the movie makers copy. Movies also, the villain is always boasting and then the hero comes and kills him. Iti yuktva bhagwan chalvam gadya bhima vekaya tadad jatro samrabdha sachakampe vamanasrik. Having said this, the furious lord swung his club with frightening power and speed and hit Shalva on the collarbone, making him tremble and vomit blood. Gadayam sannivritayam Shalvastvantardhirya tato muhurta agatya purusha shirasachutam devakya prahito asmiti natva prahavachorudan. But as soon as Lord Achyuta withdrew his club, Shalva disappeared from sight, and a moment later a man approached the Lord. Bowing his head down to him, he announced, "Devaki has sent me," and sobbing spoke the following words. Krishna Krishna Mahabhavo Pitate Pitri Vatsala Padvapanita Shalvena Sauniken Yata Pashu. The man said, "O Krishna, Krishna, mighty armed one, who are so affectionate to your parents, Shalva has seized your father and taken him away, as a butcher leads an animal to slaughter." Nishamme vipriyam Krishno manusim prakritim gata vimnasko grini snehad babhashe prakrito yata. When he heard the disturbing news, Lord Krishna, who was playing the role of a mortal man, showed sorrow and compassion. And out of love for his parents, he spoke the following words, like an ordinary conditioned soul. See, Shukdev Goswami is completely saying, like an ordinary condition. He is not an ordinary conditioned soul. But since he is playing the form of a human, so he showed sorrow and compassion. Oh, what happened to my father? Katham Ramam Sambhrantam Jitva Jayam Surasura Shalve Nalpi Asanita Pita Me Balvan Vidhi. Lord Krishna said, Balram is ever vigilant and no demigod or demon can defeat him. So how could this insignificant Shalva defeat him and abduct my father? Indeed, fate is all powerful, because he had left Balramji in charge of the city of Dwarka. Iti Virvane Govinde Sovharat Pratyupastita Vasudevam Ivaniya Krishnam Chedam Vachasam. After Govinda spoke these words, the master of Sobha again appeared, apparently leading Vasudev before the Lord. Shalva then spoke as follows. Eshate janita tato yadartham iha jivasi vadishye vikshatasteyo amam ishaschet vahi balish. Shalva said, here is your dear father who begot you and for whose sake you are living in this world. I shall now kill him before your very eyes. Save him if you can, weakling. Evam nirbhatsriya mayavi khangen nanak dundubhe utkritya shir adaya khastham sobham samavishat. After he had mocked the Lord in this way, the magician Shalva appeared to cut off Vasudev's head with his sword. Taking the head with him, he entered the Sobha vehicle which was hovering in the sky. Tato muhurtam prakritaviluptaha svabodh aste svajana shushangata mahanum bhavastad uddhyada asurim mayam sashalu prasritam mayoditam. By nature, Lord Krishna is full in knowledge and he possesses unlimited powers of perception. Yet for a moment, out of great affection for his loved ones, he remained absorbed in the mood of an ordinary human being. He soon recalled, however, that this was all a demoniac illusion engineered by Mayadanav and employed by Shalva. So this is all illusion, he understood. न तत्र दूतं न पितुः कलेवर प्रबुदाज संपश्य दच्युतः स्वाप्नं यथा चाम्बरचारिणं रिपुं शोभस्थम् आलोक्य निहन्तुम् उद्यतः. Now alert to the actual situation, Lord Achyuta saw before him on the battlefield neither the messenger nor his father's body. It was as if he had awakened from a dream. Seeing his enemy flying above him in the Shobha plain, the Lord then prepared to kill him. So enough of all these illusions. Evam badanti rajarshe rishya kecha nanvitaha yat swavacha viruddheta nunam tena smarantiyata. Such is the account given by some sages, a wise king, but those who speak in this illogical way are contradicting themselves, having forgotten their previous statements. If someone thinks that Lord Krishna was actually bewildered by Shalva's magic and that the Lord was subjected to ordinary mundane lamentation, such an opinion is illogical and contradictory, since it is well known that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, transcendental and absolute. This will be further explained in the following verses. Tva shok moho sneho va bhayam va te agya sambhava tva cha khandita vijnana jnaneshwarya tva khandita. How can lamentation, bewilderment, material affection or fear, all born out of ignorance, be ascribed to the infinite Supreme Lord, whose perception, knowledge and power are all similarly infinite? So Prabhupada writes, lamentation, aggrievement, and bewilderment are characteristics of conditioned souls. But how can such things affect the person of the Supreme, who is full of knowledge, power, and all opulence? Actually, it is not at all possible that Lord Krishna was misled by mystic jugglery of Shalva. He was displaying his pastime of playing the role of a human being. So this was a real thing, not that Shalva's illusion can take over Krishna. Yet the pada sevor jitayatma vidyaya hinvanti ati anadhyatma viparya griham labhantatmiyam anantam aishwaram kutonu moha paramasya sadgate. By virtue of self-realization fortified by service rendered to his feet, devotees of the Lord dispel the bodily concept of life, which has bewildered the soul since time immemorial. Then they attain eternal glory in his personal association. How then can that supreme truth, the destination of all genuine saints, be subject to illusion? So how is it possible? As a result of fasting, the body becomes weak and one thinks I am emaciated. Similarly, sometimes the conditioned soul thinks I am happy or I am unhappy. Ideas based on the bodily concept of life. Simply by serving the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, however, devotees become free from this bodily concept of life. So how could such illusion possibly affect the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any time? So it's not at all possible. Tam shastra puga praharantam ajo ojasa shalvam shara shaurya moga vikrama vidvachin tarvarma dhanu shiromani sobham cha shatror gadya rurojaha. While Shalva continued to hurl torrents of weapons at him with great force, Lord Krishna, whose prowess never fails, shot his arrows at Shalva, wounding him and shattering his armor, bow, and crest jewel. Then with his club, the Lord smashed his enemy's Sobha airship. Srila Prabhupada writes, then Shalva thought that Krishna had been bewildered by his mystic representation. He became encouraged and began to attack the Lord with greater strength. and energy by showering volumes of arrows upon him. But the enthusiasm of Shalva can be compared to the speedy march of flies into a fire. Lord Krishna, by hurling his arrows and with unfathomable strength, injured Shalva, whose armor, bow, and jeweled helmet all scattered into pieces. With a crashing blow from Krishna's club, Shalva's wonderful airplane burst into pieces and fell into the sea. See, sometimes it is questioned that why Krishna has to do so much of fighting, arrows and spears and so many things, and fighting so many demons. Because the thing is, Krishna, this tendency to fight is in Krishna. Originally, it is in Krishna. That's why we have this tendency. And sometimes he wants to fight. He desires to fight. In Vrindavan or in Braj, he fights with his cowherd boyfriends. But that fight is different. That is a friendly fight. Now here are real demons. They are attacking him severely, want to kill him. Cowherd boys, they don't want to kill him. But here they are. And Krishna has an itch to fight. So all these demons who come to fight him, they are the real adversaries. Not on an equal level, but they give him a good fight. And this is what he wants. And see, so many things he has to do to fight and kill all these demons. Tatta Krishne haste ritya vichurnitam papata toye gadya sahasradha visrajya tadabhut malamastito gadam udyam shalvo achyutam abhyagad dhrutam. Shattered into thousands of pieces by Lord Krishna's club, the Sobha airship plummeted into the water. Shalva abandoned it, stationed himself on the ground, took up his club and rushed towards Lord Achyuta. Adhavatah sagadam tasya baham allena chitvata rathangam adbhutam vadhaya shalvasya layarka sannibham vibrad bhavo sarkaivo dyachala. As Shalva rushed at him, the Lord shot a bhalla dart and cut off his arm that held the club. Having finally decided to kill Shalva, Krishna then raised his Sudarshan disc weapon, which resembled the sun at the time of universal annihilation. The brilliantly shining Lord appeared like the easternmost mountain bearing the rising sun. So, like an easternmost mountain bearing the rising sun. So, the sun is like the Sudarshan Chakra was like the sun. Jahara tena shira sakundalam kirita yuktam purumayano hari vajrena vritrasya yatha purandaro babuva ha heti vachastada nirna. Employing his disc, Lord Hari removed that great magician's head with its earrings and crown, just as Purandar had used his thunderbolts to cut off Vritra's head. Seeing this, all of Shalva's followers cried out, alas, alas. Tasmin nipatite pape sobheja gadyadhate nedur dundu bhayo rajan divi deva ganeritaha sakhinam pachitim kurvan danta vakro rushabhyagat. With the sinful Shalva now dead and his Sobha airship destroyed, the heavens resounded with kettle drums played by the group of demigods. Then Dantavakra, wanting to avenge the death of his friend, furiously attacked the Lord. So thus ends the purpose to 10th canto, 77th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna Slays the Demon Shalva. So since we have time, we take up the next chapter. The killing of Dantavakra, Vidurath, and Romharsha. So Dantavakra has arrived. So Dantavakra and Shishupal, they were the two biggest demons, Jay and Vijay. in this Krishna Leela. They were Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, and then Ravan and Kumbhakarna, now Shishupal and Dantavakra. Shri Shukavacha, Shishupalasya, Shalvasya, Pondrakasya, Pidurmati, Paralogatanam cha, Kurvan Paroksha Sohritam, Eka Padati Sankruddho, Gada Pani Prakampayan, Padyame Mamara, Maharaja Mahasattu Vyadhrashya. Shukdev Goswami said, acting out of friendship for Shishupal, Shalva and Pondrak, who had all passed on to the next world, the wicked Dantavakra appeared on the battlefield in a great rage. O king, all alone on foot and wielding a club in his hand, the mighty warrior shook the earth with his footsteps. So he just came walking alone, not even with an army. Tam tathayantam alokya gadamadaya satvara avaplutya rathat Krishna sindhum veleva pratyadhat. Seeing Dantavakra approach, Lord Krishna quickly picked up his club, jumped down from his chariot, and stopped his advancing opponent, just as the shore holds back the ocean. Prabhupada writes, when Krishna appeared before Dantavakra, his heroic march was immediately stopped, just as the great furious waves of the ocean are stopped by the beach. And why did he get down from the chariot? Because Dantavakra was on foot. He was not on the chariot. So as a rule, etiquette of war, Krishna also got down from the chariot. Gadam udyamya karusham mukundam prahaturmata dishtya bhavanadya mam drishti patham gata. Raising his club, the reckless king of Karusha said to Lord Mukunda, what luck to have you come before me today. Srila Sridhar Swami explains that after having waited for 3 lifetimes, Dantavakra, formerly a gatekeeper in Vaikuntha, could now return to the spiritual world. Therefore, the transcendental meaning of this statement, how fortunate I am that today I can return to my constitutional position in the spiritual world. So Dantavakra, next verse, Dantavakra will refer to Krishna's Matuleya, a maternal cousin. Dantavakra's mother, Shrutashrava, was the sister of Krishna's father, Vasudeva. So they're all related. Shishupal was related. Dantavakra is related. But what to do? Tom Matuleyo nah Krishna, Mitra Dhrung, Mam Jighansasi Atastvam, Gadeyamanda, Hanishe Vajra Kalpaya. You are our maternal cousin, Krishna, but you committed violence against my friends. And now you want to kill me also. Therefore, a fool, I'll kill you with my thunderbolt club. So this, of course, Acharyas, they always bring out the meaning that actually glorifies Krishna. They said, Dantavakra said, my dear Lord Krishna, you are Amanda, means not foolish. Therefore, with your powerful club, you will now send me back home, back to Godhead. Tariha Niryam upamagya mitrana mitravatsalah bandhu rupamarim hatva vyadim dehcharam yatha. Then, O unintelligent one, I, who am obliged to my friends, will have repaid my debt to them by killing you, my enemy disguised as a relative, who are like a disease within my body. Evam rukshastadsudan vakya krishnam putra dvipam gadyatadayan murthni singvad vayanadadacha saha. Thus trying to harass Lord Krishna with harsh words, as one might prick an elephant with sharp goads, Dantavakra struck the Lord on the head with his club and roared like a lion. Gadya bihato apyajo na chachali yadudvaha Krishna apitam ahan gurveha komo dakya stanantare. Although hit by Dantavakra's club, Lord Krishna, the deliverer of the Yadus, did not budge from his place on the battlefield. Rather, with his massive Kaumaduki club, the Lord struck Dantavakra in the middle of his chest. See, although Dantavakra hit him with full force, Krishna did not even budge from his place. He just tolerated everything. And then he hit Dantavakra in the middle of the chest. Gada nirbhin hridaya udvaman rudhiram mukhat prasarya kesha bhavangrin dharanyam neapadat vayasu. His heart shattered by the club's blow, Dantavakra vomited blood and fell lifeless on the ground. His hair disheveled and his arms and legs sprawling. Just one blow and he was dead. ततः सूक्ष्मतरं ज्योति कृष्णमाविशदन्तं पश्यतं सर्वभूतानां यथा चैद्यवधे नृपाम्. A most subtle and wondrous spark of light then rose from Demon's body and entered Lord Krishna while everyone looked on. O King, just as when Shishupal was killed. Vidurathasthu tad bhrata bhratri shoka pariplitah agachatam isa charmabhyam uchchava sansta jighansaya. But then Dantavakra's brother, Vidurath, immersed in sorrow over his brother's death, came forward, breathing heavily, sword and shield in hand. He wanted to kill the Lord. Tasya chapatatah Krishna chakrena kshurunemina shirojahara rajendra sakiritam sakundalam. The best of kings as Vidurath fell upon him. Lord Krishna used his razor-edged Sudarshan disc to remove his head, complete with its helmet and earrings. Evam sobham cha shalvam cha dantavakram sahanujam hatva durvisha hananya idita suramanava muni bhi siddha gandharva vidyadhar mahoraka apsaro bhi pitri ganar yaksha kinnara charana upagiya mana vijaya kusumera abhivarshita vritascha vrishni pravarar vivesha lankritam purim. Having thus destroyed Shalva and his Sobha airship along with Dantavakra and his younger brother, all of whom were invincible before any other opponent, the Lord was praised by demigods, human beings, and great sages, by Siddhas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, and Mahoragas, and also by Apsaras, Pitas, Yakshas, Kinnar, and Charans. As they sang his glories and showered him with flowers, the Supreme Lord entered his festively decorated capital city in the company of the most eminent Vrishnis. So all these big demons he had killed. Evam Yogeshwara Krishna Bhagwana Jagadishwara Iyate Pashu Drishtinam Nirjito Jayatiti Saha. Thus Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all mystic power and Lord of the universe, is ever victorious. Only those of beastly vision think he sometimes suffers defeat. So he's never defeated. He's always victorious. Concerning killing of Dantavakra, Uttarakhand of the Padma Puran says, then hearing that Shishupal had been killed, Dantavakra went to Mathura to fight against Krishna. When Krishna moreover heard of this, he mounted his chariot and went to Mathura. It says that he was killed in Mathura, not near Dwarka. Between the two of them, Dantavakra and Lord Vasudeva, there then began a battle at the gate of Mathura that lasted all day and night. Finally, Krishna struck Dantavakra with his club, at which point Dantavakra fell lifeless to the ground. All his limbs were smashed like a mountain shattered by lightning bolt. Dantavakra achieved the liberation of gaining a form equal to the Lord's, and thus he also achieved the Lord's eternal supreme abode, attainable by perfect yogis, which bestows the happiness of everlasting spiritual bliss. Where did Krishna hear from? In this passage of Padma Puran, the words, when Krishna heard of this, indicate that the Lord heard from Narad. who travels as swiftly as the mind, that Dantavakra had gone to Mathura. So therefore, immediately after killing Shalva, without first entering Dwarka, the Lord reached the vicinity of Mathura in a single moment on his chariot, which also moves as swiftly as the mind. And there he saw Dantavakra. Thus it was that even today by the gate of Mathura, facing the direction of Dwarka, there is a village known in the vernacular as Datiha. Datiha, a name derived from the Sanskrit Dantavakra Ha, means the killer of Dantavakra. This village was founded by Krishna's great grandson Vajranath. So I guess we have to visit this village, Datiha. So after killing Vidurat, now what about Vidurat? Krishna crossed the Yamuna and went to the cowherd village of Nandababa. So because he had told them, I have few more demons to kill him, after killing them, I'll come here. So he did keep his word and he went to Nandagaon after killing Vidurat. Vidurat was the last demon he killed outside, because now the Mahabharat war will take place and so many demons will be collected there and killed. Where he honored and consoled his aggrieved parents. They drenched him with tears and embraced him. And then the Lord offered obeisances to the elder cowherd men and gratified all the residents with abundant gifts of clothing, ornaments, and so on. So, and after that, Lord Keshav sported continuously with the cowherd women on the Kalindi's charming bank, which was filled with pious trees. Thus, the Supreme Lord, assuming the appearance of a cowherd, resided there for 2 months, enjoying the pleasure of intimate pastimes in various moods of loving reciprocation. So then, so this is always this question is asked, how did the Brajavasis go back to the spiritual world? So this is the time when they went back. And after that, he said, then by Lord Vasudev's grace, Nanda and all other residents of that place, together with their children and wives, assumed their eternal spiritual forms, boarded a celestial airplane, and ascended to the supreme Vaikuntha planet, Golok Vrindavan. Lord Krishna, however, after bestowing on Nanda Gopa and all the inhabitants of Braja his own transcendental abode, which is free of all disease, traveled through the sky and returned to Dwarka as demigods chanted his praises. So different scriptures tell us details. So in this passage of Padma Puran, the word putra in the phrase Nanda Gopadya Sarve Jana Putra Dara Di Sahita. Nanda Gopa and the others, together with the children and wives, refers to such sons as Krishna, Sridham, and Subal, while the word Dara refers to such wives as Shri Yashoda and Kirtita, the mother of Radharani. Thus they all went to the topmost Vaikuntha planet, Goloka. The phrase Divya Rupa Dhara indicates that in Goloka they engage in pastimes appropriate to demigods, not those suited to humans, as in Gokul. So Gokul is here, and in the spiritual world it's Goloka. So just as during Lord Ramchandra's incarnation, the residents of Ayodhya were transported to Vaikuntha in the self-same body, so in this incarnation of Krishna, the residents of Raja attained to Goloka in theirs. Lord Krishna's journey from Dwarka to Vraja is confirmed by the following passages of Srimad Bhagavatam. O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan, or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like a million years. Lord Krishna had been harboring a desire to go see his friends and relatives in Vraja ever since Lord Baldev had gone there, but his mother, father, and other elders in Dwarka had refused to give him permission. Now, however, after the killing of Shalva, when Krishna heard from Narada that Dantavakra had gone to Mathura, No one could object to the Lord's going there immediately without first entering Dwarka. And then after killing Dantavakra, he would have the opportunity to meet with his friends and relatives living in Vraja. So he went to Vraja, dispelling the feelings of separation from the inhabitants. For 2 months, Lord Krishna enjoyed in Vrindavan, just as before, previous to his leaving there to kill Kansa in Mathura. Then at the end of 2 months, he withdrew his Vraja pastimes from mundane eyes by taking the demigod portions of his parents and other relatives and friends to Vaikuntha. So he sent them all back to Golok Vrindavan, and he came back to Dwarka. Furthermore, Shukdev considered that Parikshit Maharaj might think, how is it that the same Krishna who caused the cowherds to attain Vaikuntha in their self-same bodies also caused the residents of Dwarka to attain such an inauspicious condition in the course of his martial Leela, which will happen later. Thus, the king might consider the arrangement unfair because of his own affinity for the Yadus. So that is why Shukdev Goswami did not allow him to hear this pastime, which is mentioned here, is related in the Uttar Khanda of Sri Padma Purana. So it's not in Bhagavatam, but it's from Padma Purana. See, this is the beauty of all these acharyas. They just connect the dots and tell us the whole thing. Otherwise, we would have never known what happened here, or who has a time to read or to find and to read Padma Purana. In Sri Vaishnav Toshani Sanatan Goswami's commentary on the 10th canto, we find the following sequential list of pastimes. First was the journey on the occasion of the solar eclipse. So that this pastime will come later. Solar eclipse when Krishna went to Kurukshetra. Then the Rajasuya assembly, then the gambling match, an attempted disrobing of Draupadi, then the Pandavas exiled to the forest, then the killing of Shalva and Dantavakra, because Krishna came back from the Rajasuya sacrifice, and that is when Duryodhan and Shakuni, they got Pandavas to come to Hastinapur. And that's where they cheated them, and then they sent them to the forest for exile. And Krishna was busy here killing Dantavakra and Shalva. And then Krishna visited Vrindavan, and finally the winding up of the Vrindavan pastimes. So many things happened. And also I just wanted to touch upon the Nirjala Ekadashi that we did yesterday, and wonderful chanting by everybody. But as I had mentioned earlier, the Nirjala Ekadashi is a day when Krishna married Rukminiji. So this day is very, very ceremoniously and elaborately observed in Jagannath Puri. So Lord Jagannath marries Lakshmiji this day. Huge celebrations there. Because Nirjala Ekadashi is for us to keep. Aunt and Puri, they don't bother about Ekadashi. And Lord Jagannath, he never bothers about Ekadashi. On that day, he has a wonderful ceremony and this amazing prasadam on that day. And it's a huge ceremony, and Jagannathji marries Lakshmiji that day. And here he's marrying her on Nirjala Ekadashi, and few days later he'll be going on Rath Yatra and then leaving her. And then she gets angry. So again, beautiful pastimes happen. So it's all connected here also when Krishna goes from Dwarka to Vrindavan. Basically, that is Rath Yatra. And also here, Acharyas have touched upon that Dwarka Vasis and the queens, they would not allow Krishna to go to Vrindavan And also they were afraid Krishna will never come back if he goes there once. So, I mean, there is another pastime why then this Rath Yatra happens. So this pastime I'll tell around Rath Yatra time, Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra. This is all connected. It's all connected because Jagannath is Krishna. And he wants to go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is Gundicha Mandir is Vrindavan, where he goes and he stays there for a few days, not 2 months, like here he stayed for 2 months. But so beautiful pastimes. But anyway, this is the time now. All the Brajvasis have gone back to Braj. But Krishna is still here. He has to finish off this war of Mahabharata and kill so many demons over there and then save Pandavas. So many more pastimes are supposed to happen. So we'll study that as we come along. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata.
Prabhuji, I want to know one thing. And though past 2-3 days, I was just watching one video which is from ISKCON के कोई senior Prabhuji हैं. वो लोग बोल रहे थे कि इस निर्जला एकादशी वाले दिन किसी को भी आप पानी मत पिलाइए. ये जो जगह जगह पे पानी का वो लगता है ना, स्टॉल्स लगा के लोग डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते हैं पानी निर्जला एकादशी वाले दिन. So don't do that. And द्वादशी वाले दिन आप वो सब करिए. तो मुझे थोड़ा सा इसमें आप प्लीज थोड़ा क्लैरिफाई करेंगे कि ऐसा क्यों है, क्यों नहीं पिला सकते पानी. वो सेइंग कि निर्जला है तो आप क्यों उन लोगों को पानी पिला रहे हो. नेक्स्ट डे पिलाइए, बहुत अच्छा होगा.
See, their point is because it's Nirjala Ekadashi, we should not be, because we ourselves is not drinking any water. And but those people who are drinking water, they're not observing Ekadashi. And it's a hardy kasti, right? That is what it's called. Because it's so hot outside, and it's a hardy kasti, so people make these plans of serving water, and not just water, kachi lassi with different things. So those are the people, they're not going to observe Ekadashi. They're not observing Ekadashi anyway.
So is it okay ना, like अगर लोग पिला भी हैं तो है ना, ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि नहीं करना चाहिए and all that, because हम लोग के घरों में भी हम लोग देखते हैं कि एकादशी वाले दिन बहुत सारा मतलब बहुत मिलाई के सब पानी वानी दान करो and ये सब ना. छोटे होते थे तो we used to see that पंखा and मटके में पानी ले जाके and with fruits and everything we used to donate it to the temples. And मुझे समझ नहीं आया, मैं कहा इतना सब कुछ करते थे and all of a sudden कैसे ये सब रुक जाए और अगले दिन करो. So I was a little confused. I said,
it still goes on the pankha and the matki.
matki.
My brother was telling me he's going to do that. I said, do whatever you want to do. This charity, no problem. Do as much as you want.
So थोड़ा सा मुझे लगा.
So that is the thing, that those who are drinking over there, they're not observing Ekadashi anyway. So what to do?
It's okay. मतलब दोनों टाइप से ठीक है, दोनों तरफ से ना. It's like not that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Mata. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.